myself sometimes. What's real? Reality. Real. Let's go. Bullets travel like gossip, running in mouth like leaky faucets. Two-faced niggas be stealing ideas and nothing solid. Grown men and their feelings debating on true intentions.
Fair.
All right, cool. Got you. All right, we back to Guess How Said. I'm your host, Adam L, and this is
Stick Cuz the Governor.
Jaquan.
Good. That's a little bit cooler than last time. Okay. All right. Now, what's the leading topic again, Ty? Because we pulled the audible. So okay. we're not saying MC versus. We're not saying what's the difference between the MC and the rapper. What we saying?
But that whole
we gonna look at like if does hip hop purism have a place in hip hop, and that's where we're gonna lead from.
Okay, but what's the definition of hip hop? Did it change?
That's a good place to start. To be honest, is to see like how would you guys define hip hop?
I'm gonna be very cliche when I say this. Bebop, breakdancing, rhyming in the park, ciphers, right? Anything that has to do with the art form that has nothing to do with the industry, if that make any sense.
Okay.
You know, the open mics, the battling, right? Anything that has that pure art form where it's not commercialized, it's capitalized, it's not built, it's not commercialized. Right. That's hip hop to me. Like once you become signed to a major and you become, how can I put it, an artist that's known, right? It's no longer hip hop. It becomes rap music or some type of, I don't know, you know. My version of hip hop is what I just said. Breakdancing, graffiti, beat bopping, ciphers,
DJ.
Open mic, DJ, you know, that's my version of hip hop. Once you sign and become commercialized, now you're outside of that realm. You know what I'm saying? You become a product or you become commercialized. And I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, man, educate me. I don't think that's hip hop. I think that's something else. You know.
Could I say this though? But has hip hop always been about, you know, like to me, hip hop is a couple of things, but like what am I trying to say? Early on, it wasn't just about ciphering and battling and bars and so on and so forth. It could also be about moving the crowd. You know, like how we were having that conversation about MCing and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's out the park. But that's out the park. Hip hop started out in the park. Hip hop started out in the park.
But what I'm saying is that didn't initially start off with on just. It wasn't like with the MCing. It wasn't always about, you know, while that may have been an aspect of it, it wasn't always about who was the most lyrical. Sometimes it would just be about getting people moving and enjoying. And correct me if I'm wrong on that. That, you know, my understanding of those things. But it was, you know, it wasn't always about ciphering. It could just be, the song could just be about getting people moving and dancing and rocking and flowing. You know what I mean? It hasn't always been about ciphering and lyricism and so on and so forth.
That's the origin of hip hop, right? Let me probably clarify myself. Hip hop is the purest form of hip hop. What real hip hop is before these industries got a hold of it, before they capitalized on it and made it commercial. Okay, if you ever seen the movie Crush Rule, it tells you a lot about hip hop and the history of it. You get what I'm saying? Before the Def Jams came in and all these different record labels, you had people out in the park in New York City, You know what I'm saying? Moving the crowd. Who was the better MC that day? You know what I'm saying? Break dancing, graffiti, the art form before it got
Right.
commercialized.
Right.
That's hip hop to me. So if you're, let me put it this way. MF Doom to me is an MC. He embodies hip hop.
Okay.
The Migos don't embody hip hop. They embody rap from a commercialized standpoint. And I'm not saying what they do is distasteful. Like, I don't like it. I like all forms of expression. But if we're going to separate this and say what it is, hip hop in its truest and rawest form is before these corporations and these record labels got in the way of hip hop, and they capitalized on Black entertainment. That's just, you get what I'm saying? Because a rapper, an MC or artist, an MC should be able to express himself. It started out expressing the Black struggle, the Black culture. You know what I'm saying? A person's rapping about what he's living, what he's gone through, what he sees. You know what I'm saying? And then once these record labels come in and say, well, you want your story to be told to a more brighter audience, right? Okay, sign this contract, sign your life away, sign your royalties and everything, and we're gonna, in exchange, we're gonna let people in Africa and Russia and you on the East Coast, people in LA know about your story. Okay, that's how they sell you. But then when you sign that contract and you start creating things, you work on your album, and then when you hit in your album, they say, "Oh, take this out. This too raw. This, we don't want this certain demographic to hear it like this. Could you say it this way? That beat is too boom bappish. Let's make it more commercialized so it can be more like a jingle. So we want your aunties and your uncles to dance to it at the parties like Will Smith's Summertime. You get what I'm saying? So you're not gonna hear. Well, maybe you probably will hear. You won't hear Mobb Deep at a family gathering, but you're gonna hear Will Smith.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hear Griselda at a family gathering, but you hear MC Hammer, right? So that's a difference between
but does that
commercialized.
would you take MC Hammer out of the hip hop category then?
Most definitely. He's a rapper. He's an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? He's the embodiment of the gas face. Remember that joint? They too young to remember that.
I remember. That's what the song
was about. Search, gas face. You know what I'm saying? And Abdul was in there.
All right. So would Diddy then be hip hop?
No.
That's consistent.
He used hip hop artists, but Diddy himself is not hip hop, because you hear the stories. Him and Big used to crash creatively. Big didn't even like Juicy. He said it was trash. He said it was corny. He didn't want to do Juicy. But from a marketing standpoint, Diddy said, go with it. And it did Big a great justice while he was alive, because Juicy was a hit. But Big did not want Juicy on his album.
What? My thing is, right, from what I understand, and like, I'm not a hip hop scholar or anything, so I don't want to say like what I'm saying is
none of us is. We probably hip hop student of knowledge.
Probably hip hop scholar. But for me, like, it started off like, I mean, and you kind of mentioned it. It wasn't always about just like. It was about entertaining to a certain degree in the beginning. It started off in house parties and that is, so a lot of that music wasn't going to be on a straight lyrical tip. You know what I mean? It was about breakdancing. There was some music that was made for breakdancing. There was some music, some of it was, and not that this has anything to do with music, but it was supporting the graffiti artists and so on and so forth. And so I don't think like you know, to say that it all like even before it began to be before it became commercialized, that it was never about entertainment and getting people to move. And then, you know, the other thing that um, I don't know, like I don't think it always has been about like just
I think so.
lyricism.
See, I'm going back to the '80s, right?
Okay.
Broken glass everywhere.
Yeah, that's what it was changing though.
It's talking about the struggle in the culture.
Right. Okay? I think Ty's talking back to the 70s though. He talking about like at the
right, exactly.
Like when
Kool Herc and them.
Right, when all of them was starting to come out, and it was just like, okay, first it was the DJs, and it was just looping the break beats.
Right.
After a while, then you had like the MCs that weren't really lyricists per se. They were just just for the party people in the place to be. So the such, and you know what I mean? That's what they was doing first. And then eventually you started to have the people like you say, the Grandmaster Flash that coming in there with a message, and Curtis blowing them, you know what I mean? And then the next generation started, then you started to get the diversity. But when you had the parties, like, okay, like say Kid and let's go back. Kid and Play, remember them?
Yeah. Do you guys consider them hip hop?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yep.
I don't. I don't consider them hip hop.
Now, but see, now here's the thing. Now, here's why I would consider them hip hop, because they was like the ones that would headline for, like, you know, now you consider Public Enemy hip hop, right?
That's hip hop.
Right. Now, Kid and Play, they had to put them together for them to go on tour. Kid and Play and Public Enemy to make a rap tour back in them days, because at the time they feared it. They said, oh, that's too dangerous. Oh, but Kid and Play, oh, that's just party music. So it can't be that bad if you put them together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it mixes up the message. But what I'm saying is,
say rock music, for example, right? Rock music you got metal, and all the way from that down to soft rock, right? So you got all these varying degrees. So wouldn't hip hop have the same?
Oh no! If it's not in its original form, could it be honestly? Deemed as the just say if it's okay. We're dealing with evolution, right?
Yeah.
Is a tadpole a frog? No.
But it's still it's a baby.
Not. Go ahead.
I was gonna say something about, you said something about Grandmaster Flash, and one of the things that popped off the top of my head is African Bambaataa looking for a perfect beat. He wasn't talking about the struggle, or wasn't super lyrical. That stuff was meant for like break dancers and folk like that. You know what I mean? So like how we can't really, if they existed as early as probably before the 1980s, right, we can include Kid and Play and Migos and all of those different things.
Not really, because we're looking at things from listen, even as children, right? We're looking at things from a mainstream lens.
Okay.
Right. I'm sure it was a lot of underground MCs during that time. I don't know them by name, but when you look at documentaries, you be saying, "Oh, damn, who's that?" She's a female rapper, she's killing it. You know what I'm saying? A dude in the Bronx, he's rapping in the middle of the street. You get what I'm saying? That to me is raw hip hop, the reflection of that culture and what people are going through. You get what I'm saying? Everything else has hip hop. What's the word I'm using for? Yeah, but it's more just party music. You get what I'm saying?
It's I can see that.
Wasn't it born in the party?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like I agree with Gov on that one. It's like it doesn't. I can see that argument if it came down from where the original origins was Grandmaster Flash and folk like that. You know what I mean? But DJ Kool Herc wasn't. That's the first person that I think of. But DJ Kool Herc, in the 70s, that he wasn't a Grandmaster Flash. He was DJing for parties and trying to get people to move, and you know what that is
We
you gotta include it. If as early as that was there in the 70s, you're forced to include, you know,
what was
the kid in plays.
But what was the message behind that? What was they actually saying? That's because it was dancing behind a. That's because it was behind a party beat. What was the message?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like to me, I ain't no joke about R&B. There's a party beat. But Rakim was kicking science on that. The dumb is the tree by the drum, right?
He was graduating the level, you know, lyricism.
Yeah, but
right, exactly.
It was a beat that drew people in. Yeah. And that beat had a party element to it in that day and time. But he was not kicking watered down commercial bars behind that beat.
Yeah. And let me say this about commercial bars.
I think it's more the art. I'm looking at it from the art standpoint. And skill. I'm looking at it from the skill standpoint. Hip hop to me is a certain skill, right? An MC is when I say MCs, I'm talking about MF Doom. I'm talking about Forever Munch. I'm talking about the late Big L. I'm talking about these guys that are spitters. Okay, I'm not talking about no disrespect. I'm not talking about the Migos. Okay, although I like their music. I'm not talking about the Baby. Well, not somebody told me he can rap a little bit. I heard some of the stuff on Dreamville. He's pretty dope, right? But I'm not talking about these commercial artists that people deem that's representing hip hop. And there's an insult when you hear the greatest 50 of hip hop, or you see these hip hop awards and these candidates for album of the year and stuff like that. That's not hip hop.
Yeah, that's Grammys.
That's commercialized, watered down rhetoric. Watered down rhetoric, man. You know what I'm saying? If you want to represent hip hop, why wouldn't Doom get his flowers when he was alive? Okay. Why Big Aaron get his flowers? Why?
Because he's boring. That's why. Look.
You couldn't put 5 MCs for the top of your skull that can mess with Doom lyrically.
But when it come down to it, right? When you deciding who's the best or who's hip hop and not, you got to break it down into dimensions. Are you talking about lyricism, or are you talking about overall sonically? Overall, are you talking about who has, you got to look at it from different perspectives. Like, what makes Migos works is because not his lyricism, it's because he knows how to lay down a track. I mean, the Migos and his team knows how to lay down a track, a song that is enjoyable. Not everybody want to come, like, if I'm in my, if I'm in the office and I'm just trying to get my day started, I don't want to listen to no MF Doom. Like that it requires too much brain power and attention. I know it sounds like blasphemy to say that, but
blasphemy, man.
It's the truth.
Blasphemy, man. Oh my goodness.
Your brain hurts listening to MF Doom sometimes.
Oh my gosh. Blasphemy. This is blasphemy, man.
Related too.
This is blasphemy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, man.
No, but seriously though, you got to break it down. Like, and let me also say this. I think there's a space like for all of it. Like originally, like it didn't always, like I'm still gonna maintain this point, is that it didn't start off with MF Dooms. You know what I mean? It didn't, it evolved. It had some elements of it, but I think when you get to Rakim, that we graduated to Rakim. We started to elevate things. But I hear a lot of people say that the old school 80s, 70s, 70s one, they were like bubblegum cornball rappers. You know what I mean? Like just in their lyricism. But they were still, nevertheless, they're still pioneers.
It was raw talent at that time.
It was raw talent.
I'm gonna let Quan speak. You mentioned something before we came on air. You were saying something about the difference between Tupac and what you saying, Tupac and who? Who are you saying? You're saying something about Tupac and
Tupac and MF Doom. I feel like Rap, hip hop as a whole is art, and different artists have their way of expressing their art. I feel like Tupac, what made him so interesting for me is that I listened to him for his lyricism, but it was really because he made good music, the beat selection, everything, how his flow, what he was saying in his music, really. And I think a lot of people, you got some people that listen to Tupac for his lyricism, but you also have some people that just say, well, he was a good artist, he made good music. Tupac, one like his fame, like one of his most like famous songs are him dissing other artists. You know, he's very famous and known for dissing other artists, and that's what made his song very interesting. You know, and then we listen to Biggie. Some people listen to Biggie for more lyricism. Same for like MF Doom. Some people listen for Biggie. To excuse me. Some people listen to MF Doom for more lyricism wise. You know, but I listen to Tupac. I listen to artists like similar to Tupac for music. You know, for music because they make good music. Same with the Migos, same with artists like the Baby and stuff like that. And I think some people come in the game wanting to make good music, and some people want you to listen to what they're saying to educate you to come with something to come with something different, you know, with their way. So yeah.
Yeah, that's you can't compare Migos to MF Doom. They operate in two different spaces. They all can share the space in the title and say they hip hop. They just have different functions. But I think like overall, like if you look from I don't even want to say a purist. If you look from a purist standpoint and hip hop purist standpoint, and you look at it from you know or lyrical standpoint, yeah, Migos ain't that ain't it. You know what I mean? No one's gonna ever choose MF Doom over Migos. I mean Migos over MF Doom in that standpoint. But when you think about it sonically, when it comes down to rhythms and melodies and production and I mean, just the touch of lyrics and the rhythmic patterns and so on and so forth, they make songs that would appeal to the average person. The average consumer isn't concerned with lyricism. The average person, a hip hop,
But is it
someone like yourself,
is it per hip hop or is it saturated rap music that's
could be,
commercialized?
it could be. I would say that some of it is saturated and some of it is commercialized, but it's commercialized in a way that would appeal to the masses. Because if the average person isn't that much of as much of a connoisseur of hip hop that they care that much about the lyricism. They're not paying attention to the literary devices that are being used in the hip hop, like double entendres and alliteration and stuff. Like they don't care about that. They just want to
But
they
that's
just want
not
to
hip
turn something
hop.
on.
That's not hip
They just
hop.
want, but it
That's not hip
is
hop. That's
because
not hip hop. That's not hip
from
hop.
your earlier form you had.
If you don't care about those things, right, as an MC, right, and a person who loves to listen to MCing, right, if you don't listen for the double entendres, you don't listen to the triple entendres and the courses and what is it the banks like to do a lot? Punchlines. If you don't listen to the wittiness, you know what I'm saying, of the art form. You get what I'm saying? Then yeah, go ahead
What
and
about
listen to.
what if you saw it like a university though? If hip hop was like a university, then all
Mm.
of it would fit. Like say you got the engineering side, you got the science buildings, you got the it's not like the engineers are out there they out there practicing football, you know what I mean? But you still got that department. You got all these
Yeah,
different
yeah.
departments in the university. So maybe it's like that. You got this wing of hip hop that is for party. This is the club version. And it's not about the lyrics because when it's some party time, you're not really thinking too much. You just grooving pretty much in whatever the vibe is. Or you make the lyrical type music. Say that's hip hop. You know what I mean?
I guess how you look at it. You know, I never been to like a you girl,
Or
you
like
can
say
vouch for me.
school. You know,
You
school. You know, like in school, you go to history class, they was shop. The math teacher wasn't doing PE. You know what I mean?
yeah, but what okay, in this university would commercialized music, would that fit in the realm of that school? Would it have a place in that school if it's titled that says we gave the school a name called School of Hip Hop.
Yeah.
Well, learning how to rap like the Migos, and no shout at you guys, you know, the Migos, we love y'all music. We just trying to make an example. Would that have a place in a university? Because think about it. Okay, yeah. I'll be open-minded for change. And I say hip hop can mean different to different people in different realms. Like if you're in Houston, right?
Yeah.
You're dealing with Ghetto Boys, or the Pimp C and them, right? That in that realm could be considered hip hop. Yeah. Where in New York, that's not considered hip hop. That's not the boom bap, right? In New York, KRS-One, Nas, Jay-Z, Big L, you know what I'm saying? They're considered hip hop. And then you go to the West Coast, they consider Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, I don't want to say Kendrick because he's more East Coast influence, right? But they did. What about the Midwest? What's his name? Too Short. They consider that a form of hip hop.
Right.
Right.
I mean, so all of those are different forms.
Like
but my thing,
like different subgenres, I guess. You know what
I
mean?
but my thing is, what is considered the orthodox meaning of hip hop? Do we go back to New York, where it all started at, and say that they have the right to claim hip hop and say that this is the orthodoxy, the original form in its purest state, what is hip hop, and anything that's beyond that, that's taken away and deviated from it, is not its purest form of hip hop. It's a form of hip hop, but it's not hip hop.
Yeah, but say they lose everybody. Think about, remember when Lil Yachty and them came out? And that was during that whole debate. And it was like, I remember that whole DJ Ebro interview. And he's like, I'm not going to spit a cold 16. I don't do that. You know what I mean? And then he was like, come on, man, then you're not going to work. But it turned out that he was right as far as Yachty goes, because the purists, what you do is you exclude everybody else. And then it turns into its own thing and nobody else can be hip hop. So then it turns out that eventually then the purists will complain that hip hop died because it goes with them.
I'm with the purist side, man. I am. I am, man. You know what I'm saying? I think you're talking about Lil Uzi Vert too. Remember he tried to spit a little 16 or whatever he spit. I think he spit like a 4-bar or something like that. No. And you know, I'm gonna be very political here. It wasn't the best listen, okay? It's not like having and that's the thing, because they from the same city. It's not Lil Yachty. I'm talking about Uzi Vert and what's my man from the Roots, man? I can't think of it right now. The leader of the Roots.
Oh, I'm so Black Thought.
Black Thought, thank you. They're from the same city, right? No. Now, do you consider Black Thought hip hop?
Yeah.
And Uzi Vert not hip hop?
No.
I think Black Thought is hip hop. I'm not too sure about Uzi Vert. You get what I'm saying? But you may have people out here that say that Uzi is hip hop. I don't think so. I really don't. I think it is a craft. It is a craft, bro. MCing is a craft. And if you don't harness that craft and do it well, that's like certain people take poetry as a craft. You get up on that open mic stage and you spit a weak poem, you're gonna anger some people in that club, because they're gonna say, man, get this man out of here, man. He's disrespecting the art form. It's it's not in its original form.
Now the one thing that it's funny, speaking about the poetry people, the poets, they'll tell you that the rappers are not poets. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I want to say this one thing about the people like the Migos and Uzi Vert and so on and so forth. I think if you strip them all down to, strip them down to their bare bones, their skeletons, they're going all rap, all hip hop is going to have certain elements, internal rhyme schemes. There's going to call and response. There's going to be flow. There are certain types of flows that they share. There's going to be certain production techniques that's shared and so on and so forth. So like keeping that in mind, rapping is a rap, no matter the sophistication, rapping is still present in there. So it's more like it may be a fusion, it may be an offshoot of hip hop like Uzi Verts and Migos and so on and so forth. But at the bare bones, it's still hip hop. I think.
Oh yeah, I wanted to punch in and say that also it depends on what's the topic and what's being said in that particular song. That really makes a big difference because you could like hear MF Doom, but if you don't know what he's talking about, you're not going to be interested. You're not going to show no attention because there's been a couple of times I listened to MF Doom and I'm just like, what am I listening to? Like, what is he saying? You know what I mean? So like, it's like I
oh
know
my
he
goodness,
can
man, the
rhyme.
disrespect.
I know he can rhyme and everything, but he's like this and this and this and this, and I'm like, oh man, like this is really like not like you lost me a couple minutes ago, But someone like Eminem, for example, he's very lyrical, but what he says and what he's talking about is going to catch your attention. Like, okay, I may not understand everything he's saying, but it's pretty interesting. The beat selection, how he's saying it, and what he's saying, what he's talking about. He may be talking about a breakup. He may be talking about the Illuminati, something, anything, right?
Some people consider Eminem not hip hop.
I wouldn't go as far as saying that, though.
Some people consider that he's not hip hop.
Nah,
because it goes back to lyricism. We're speaking from an MC standpoint. Remember, he came in the game as my name is what? My name is Eric Shady. Come on, bro. Come on.
It wasn't always about lyricism. It was about.
Oh my goodness.
There was an EP that came out before that though. Remember the mixtapes?
I don't go that far with him. Only thing I remember is the commercialized stuff.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, man. I got a different view on what's hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't consider the Migos hip hop. I consider them commercial. I consider them as industry, right?
A lot of them say the same too, though. A lot of them say the same. Like they're like, we're not traditional hip hop. They'll even say that too, but at the same time, I guess I don't know. I kind of see them under that big umbrella though, type of a deal. Like it's another department. Like
right.
Yeah, like Toyota got different. They got their own. There's an Avalon, there's a Camry, there's the Highland, there's the trucks. You know what I mean? Of course, it ain't the same, but it's still within that umbrella. Right. They are vehicles within the same thing.
Now, do you real quick? Because I think we got like 1 more minute. Do y'all think that albums are being watered down lately? Okay. They don't have the same punch as like albums 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. I think they watered down because No Name, that's her name. I listened to her album a little bit, and you want to talk about let's be political right here.
Hey, it was
not. No, you came at the dude, so I had to come at the girl.
All right.
It was not the most sonically pleasing album.
I could just die right now.
No.
It was. I probably can pick out one song that I like from the whole album. It was not sonically pleasing. Her bars was.
My ears bleed listening to MF Doom sometimes.
Her bars was. We're gonna have to continue the subject. Hopefully, do our research more on that.
Come back for part 2.
Yeah, I know some hip hop purists that we know personally, and probably thought and say, "Oh, these guys are really talking about me. They need us on the show. They don't know what hip hop really is."
Well, we here for them. We here for them.
Oh man, that wraps it up. Guess I'll say it. I'm your host, Adam L.
The governor.
I don't know. Yeah. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Be a participant. There you go. Be a participator. Don't be a hater. And peace out.
Out.
All right. Peace.